Hello everyone, welcome to another PlanetBase video. I've actually got some feedback from you guys saying that the last tips were sort of outdated, so this is a 2020 video. So you can see below that it's been shot in the year 2020, and I'll just basically give you my tips and tricks today. So it'll be a little bit of a playthrough, a combination of both. If you enjoy the video, do leave a like on the video, I would really appreciate that. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel, and let's help us get to the 5,000 mark of subscribers. Guys, in today's video, we are probably going to start on the Class D planet. Let's have a look. So it's a medium-sized desert planet with a thick CO2 atmosphere, which partially protects it from meteors and solar flares. So there are meteors here, there are solar flares. As you can see, the characteristics here are the light amount is high, which means solar panels operate at full capacity. Atmosphere density, it's high, so suitable for wind turbines, and the sandstorm risk is high, which is going to be a bit of an issue for us. I assume it's going to be a bit of an issue for us going forward. Meteor risk is low, so we're not too phased about that one. So we're going to call this base the Hammer of Hope. I don't know why, but that sounded pretty cool. So let's have a look. Let's see where's a nice spot here. Maybe let's go up north, maybe, and see what we can achieve here. Let's go. Let's go here. Actually, yeah, this looks pretty cool up here. The Hammer of Hope, Class D. Let's go. Let's have a see here. Okay, cool. So we've just come from Earth. And that is our spaceship, obviously. Let's see what we've got. Let's see who appears. So we've got one worker, two workers, three workers. So the workers are blue. The biologists are green, so we've got two biologists. We have one engineer who is the orange, and the medic who's red, and we have a carrier bot and a constructor bot. The constructor bot will construct things, carrier bots will be the transportation. So I think if we were on this planet, I think the first thing we'd want to do is get shelter and make sure that there's oxygen, so that breathable oxygen, so that we could live. So let's put that there. And we also going to need to have a access point for this. So we'll have an airlock there. We will also build a solar panel, which we shall situate there, and we will have a power collector, so that obviously the solar panel is going to collect your power. The power collector is going to ensure it's like a big battery. So I'm not going to lie to you guys, I prefer actually having a larger power collector, like the second. There's only two. It's kind of worth it in my opinion. You want to make sure that you have a water extractor. I also like to go two with a water extractor with these smaller bases. So I think it is a little bit easier with regards to that. So the next thing, if we were on this, we would probably build so once that's built, we'll also build a wind turbine. I think I'm going to also build that the medium wind turbine, not a small one. And then okay, so we're going to have to build a mine to extract ore so that we can get the metals going forward. But the biggest thing for me would be probably an eating spot, and then I would also make some dormitories so we could sleep, so the colonists can sleep. I think we can survive with a smaller one. Just note that the dorms are T-junction, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that, but I think they are. So as you can see, there's a T there. What happens there is that we can't actually build around here now. So this is the only place that this has access to. So that's what that T means. And so that's cool. We've got the power collector that's now collecting some power. And we also have the water extractor that is extracting some water. We should be generating oxygen now, which is good. So we need to have water and we need to have power to generate oxygen. Makes sense. Or at least that's what the mechanics say in the game. So we've got the wind turbine going. We're actually pretty sorted with power. I think you will find that having done it the way I have done it, you will sort of see that there would be less metal to work with and less bioplastics to work with. But I think it's pretty worth it, and I think the Red Planet, they tend to give you a bit more. They're a little bit more lenient, and I think it's a lot more easier than the other planets. So, also, the reason why I haven't built a bio dome just yet is because we've actually got 25 meals, so we are pretty safe for a few days before we sort of start with the biodome. So we've got this dorm that's built. Now, if the colonists do not sleep, and they do not get enough sleep, they will operate at less of efficiency than they should. So you'll end up seeing that they'll also sleep on the floor, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it will take longer for them to rest on the floor than it would be in a bed. That's at least the speculation. I don't know if that's a fact, but it kind of makes sense. We'll just have to check. So I don't know if anybody knows who's watching this, who knows that fact. If they could maybe just leave a comment below. I think I'd appreciate that a lot. So the next thing I'd build is obviously a canteen and water. I think water is super important for the survival of these, of these new colonists. The new frontier. So we'll build that there. I think what I will do is I will also build a TV for entertainment purposes, because I know the TV does entertain. And if you look at your people, actually, I'm also going to build a plant. If I'm not mistaken, plants also help with happiness. So you'll have a look here. It says morale. Okay, so it's not happiness, it's morale. So you got sleep, oxygen, water, nutrition, and health. So yeah, that's good to see. That's built. As you can see, we are now running on backup power, which is good. I think the base is pretty sorted in terms of power. Pretty sorted in terms of water as well. Obviously, I think later on, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm going to build that now actually. We can build a water tank. I don't think it's somewhat necessary. I think it's probably more important to build a mine to ensure that there is sort of that expansion that is available to the workers. So we'll build a mine there. And I think once this canteen is built, we will build a biodome. Now, this is now my personal opinion. You guys could, there are going to be people who disagree, but I think it is a lot better to have the medium-sized up front and go, and rather have that access to expand. Reason being, okay, hear me out, is once this is built, you'll see that you will need to have medical leaves. You'll need to have, and then in the small one, okay, what I'm trying to say is, in the small biodome, you will only have 4 spots, which means that it kind of limits the food production. So it does get kind of, sort of, it's very, very sort of subjective, and depends on what kind of things you would use. But I'm gonna go for, we don't have a lot of biologists. Yes, we have, what do we have, 2? Or is it 1? We've got 2 biologists. So for me personally, I think 2 biologists to maintain 4 plants gets a bit tricky, because those plants, if you have them as the higher production rate, then obviously they require more demand. So, I mean, it should work theoretically, but I'm just saying, obviously this is just my personal opinion, and I'll show you why I do it. Yes, it does use a little bit more resources and so on, but in my opinion, I think it's worth it in the long run. So yeah, let's have, okay, we don't actually have a table here, so I think let's add a table for these guys to eat. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's weird. In the smaller canteen, you'll see that again we've only got 4 slots, but this table will have 4 seats and this table will have 2 seats. Now, if I had to build this, there's nothing else I can build around the table, which is a bit weird. So that's why I think in the smaller ones, you should build your tables, right? Then, in the medium canteen, you should build the smaller table. So you'll be able to build 3 small tables, which brings it up to 6 seats versus 4 seats. Hope that makes sense. We're going to wait for this biodome, this large biodome, to sort of finish construction. And look, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, that's not looking good. So I think the next thing we'll also build is to ensure that we have the sustainability and self-sufficiency. We are then going to build a processing plant. Now, the processing plant we could probably build out here, and then eventually have another mine over here, or just move the mine there, or whatever. But I think moving to here, let's make it as long as possible. Actually, it'll look quite pretty if it's you know, if that's an elongated base. Okay, so with meals, I think this is probably one of the most important parts in PlanetBase that is often overlooked. I used to overlook it quite a lot, and I didn't really understand the meal prepping. So you're gonna need a medicinal pad, so you're gonna have to build one of those. Okay. Then you will also need what you will need. Okay. You can either create salads, you can create pastas, or you can create burgers. Now, I will leave a link in the description below so that you can. So you see, we've actually got an achieved survival reach. But anyways, back onto the thing I was saying is that I'm going to leave a link in the description that shows you what sort of meals create what ingredients create what meals. Now, I'm gonna have wheat because wheat and mushrooms, or wheat and tomatoes, create a pasta. Pasta only requires 2 ingredients, which means more pasta can be held in your meal maker, because there's only 6 meals you can have here. So you want to sort of utilize the 6 as much as possible. Also, if you have basic meals and your colonists eat, I think it's 15 plus basic meals altogether, they'll get malnourished, and they'll need to have a medic use one of the medical supplies, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to make sure that we make some tomatoes, and we're going to make some wheat. Now, the other thing is that we're going to now need to understand, I would assume we would need to make some rice as well, because rice and any meat creates a pasta. Rice and any mushroom, also rice and mushrooms make a pasta. But also, the reason why we've taken wheat is because wheat and any meat can also make a burger. Now, just remember, wheat and mushrooms, wheat and tomatoes make pasta. Wheat and any meat makes a burger. So I think, personally, we would really sort of want to focus on wheat, tomatoes, and any meat. Okay? Now, having said that, remember when I said the smaller biodome only has 4? So now we are at capacity. We would have basically been at capacity. Correct? So, actually, wait. No, we could have probably just gone and said, okay, cool, rice pad. So we actually didn't need to have a big one. But like I said, so you can actually do that. Okay, I feel like I've basically proved my point wrong, which is fine. That's why we're doing these things. But by the looks of it, we can have this in a smaller biodome. But I think from an expansion point of view, I don't now need to worry too much about a biodome going forward when we have a landing pad and expanding the colony. So again, I'm going to stick with my argument that I feel personally the large biodome is a lot better, but I think to save resources, it would be very important to ensure that we have enough resources to sort of create the metal processor and then eventually the bioplastics. But remember, guys, the other thing we're going to do is we can still recycle this. So we've recycled this now. And now look at that. We got 16 and 10. So for me, there's a lot of resources on the red planet. And that's why I wouldn't be too worried about whether or not, I wouldn't be too sort of stingy on my resources as much as I would be on the, let's say, Class M planet or the Class S planet, for instance. So, yeah, I hope I haven't lost anybody's attention or any sort of credibility. But, I mean, these things happen and we should be allowed to sort of have our personal opinions. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with my concept of going with the larger biodome, or do you guys prefer to go with the medium biodome? You'd rather utilize the resources elsewhere? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really sort of appreciate the feedback from you guys. Maybe it's not to say what I'm thinking is correct. So yeah, okay, so we've got the bioplastic processor that's now being built, and we are currently getting the metal processor being built. So the bioplastic processes requires starch to be consumed and a worker to sort of produce a bioplastic. So if the worker isn't being used in the mine, the worker will hopefully come to the metal processor and the bioplastic processor to process the starch and the ore, which we have one of, by the way, from the mines into the relevant resources. So the other thing that I want to go back to in terms of the biodome is your wheat pad is considered to be a medium rate. So it goes up with a medium rate, which means the faster the output of food, the more maintenance it requires. So if you've only got one biologist, like let's say on the later planets, I would recommend having one fast producing plant, such as the tomatoes, and the rest sort of being slow. So as you can see, the rice and the tomatoes are fast producing, and that's the signal for fast producing. And the wheat pad is medium. There's also an option, if we really wanted to, we could also just add mushrooms. Because remember what I said? I said rice and mushrooms also create a pasta. So to ensure we have enough rice, we actually should be like getting the ratios correct here. But it's 1-to-1. So again, that's something that's something we got to sort of be, that's what we got to do. I think that's what we got to do. So let's have a look here. If you look at the rice pad, all plants produce three things. Okay, not the medicinal pad, but all plants other than the medicinal pad and the trees produce three things. The starch plants, as I like to call them, produce 2 food and 1 starch. The tomatoes, for instance, produce 3 food. So if we think about it, we have to sort of ensure that we are getting the right amount of food, but also the right amount of starch. So you can like play with the ratios, but I think for now, this is probably a good ratio. Remember what I said, rice, what was it? I said wheat and tomatoes would give you the pasta, and wheat and, now you guys are probably wondering, but where do we get the meat from? So that is why we have to build the lab next. So we're going to build the lab next. These ones are a bit tricky though, because in terms of the lab, it's a bit hard because the meat synthesizers are situated on the outside. When you build these connections, it kind of deletes them, which is a bit awkward. You don't really want that. So personally, I would go with a large, or what is this, a medium lab rather than a small lab. Same sort of concept with the biodome, because it will allow for more space to produce the meat products. So, yeah. We will sort of eventually talk about spares. Since we have 10, we're not too worried about it. And while I'm on the concept, while we're going to wait for this lab to be built, I want to just show you about the manufacturing limits once we have got the factory built, which we don't have. So, never mind. It looks as if we need to... requires a factory. Okay, so we're going to build a factory after the lab's being built, and then I'll take you through the manufacturing limits. So basically, just to give you a rundown on how the manufacturing limits work, we will basically allow our base to operate at a certain efficiency, being if we have 10 spares, we stop at 10 spares. So then and we need engineers to make spares and semiconductors and guns. The workers do the sort of the hard labor, so like the manufacturing and the mining and etc. And the engineers do the more sort of complicated jobs in that sense. Look, I'm not saying that the workers or the engineers are more important. I think both are extremely important. But yeah, so everything in this game, every single role is super important. Every person, without that person, the whole system would not function. So yeah. Let's have a look. Okay, so this should be built. The lab should be built quite soon. And then I'm just trying to see. I do think that these are starting to. Yeah, they are. Look, see, they're starting to deteriorate because of the radiation. That's not good. We've got 16 meals. These guys are really eating quick. They are eating quite fast. I see we've got some vegetables. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to take now the vegetables to the meal maker. Okay, what is this? This is tomatoes. Hopefully, if this is rice, they will change this up a bit. Tomatoes. Oh, it would be 3 tomatoes, yes, because that's the only thing that's been sort of produced now. We're actually waiting for the rice pads to be completed. So you see, 3 tomatoes now has a meal basic. We don't really want basic meals. And that's why I'm saying, when it comes to ratios, you might actually want to have more rice pads or more wheat pads to balance the amount of... So to balance the frequency of the output of the tomato pads. Okay. So I actually might add another wheat. I know that our current sort of situation... See, we wouldn't be able to do this in a small biodome because of the ratios selected. So here's the lab, as I was talking about. We have a workbench where we place for medic to make medical supplies. That is of the utmost importance, especially early on, because your workers will, when they're mining, will probably get hurt. And I bet you, my luck, it's going to happen right now. No, it won't. Okay, cool. So that, he was safe and he didn't get hurt, so that's fine. The next thing we are building is a tissue synthesizer. So this will obviously synthesize any sort of meat. I think there are 3 choices. There's chicken, beef, and pork. It's quite a cool technology. I think that would, if we could do that like in the real world, I think that would be quite cool. I think that would be very nice, because I think cruelty is it's a tough pill to swallow. It's cruelty to animals, and yeah. But let's not get political about this. I think, but yeah, I genuinely think that would solve a lot of problems if we could get tissue synthesizers to be cheaper than the actual cost of meat. Okay, so have a look. So you'll see now there are vegetables. So there are tomatoes here, and I think this should work. So she's gonna put in. Yeah, there we go. So there's wheat now, and there's tomatoes. There should be double wheat here. So there should be 2 pastas now that get made. If not, I'll be very upset. But there should be 2 pastas that get made. Do not fail me now. Okay, so there we go. Meal pasta. We've got wheat and we've got tomatoes. This should actually produce another meal. I don't know why it's not producing another meal, but whatever. I think they've added some sort of mechanic in here that makes sure that it just, let's say if there was just too much tomato, it wouldn't just produce salads, it wouldn't just produce basic meals all the time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I do think we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 7 people, and not everybody's got a bed. So I actually want to make sure 2, 4, 6. I want to make sure that everybody has a bed, and I'm going to cram it up a bit there. It is a survival game after all, and this isn't the most comfortable dorm that we can build. This is very nice to see. We have the nurse working on a medical supply. These actually go for quite a lot, and I think once you can actually trade with this. So if you have a surplus of medical supplies and you have a landing pad and there's visitors or traders that come to you and want to trade with you, then you can sell that and then eventually buy blueprints. Now that gets us into a whole different game where where we put robots in the... We actually build robots, and it makes things super efficient. So the next thing I said we're going to build is the factory. And now with regard to the factory, if we could have a smaller factory, I would say get a smaller factory. So, let's say here. I do kind of want the base to flow a bit. So I will be connecting it like that. I don't know, I like my base to flow. I like sort of having different options to go with. I think that's always good. And I think one thing to be mindful of while you're expanding, guys, is to make sure that you look at these graphs. I've said this before, I'll say it again. This graph you want to see not dip. You don't want it to have a downward trend. Once it starts to get to a downward trend, there's a bit of an issue. We actually don't have water, so I think I'm going to build a water tank. Because I haven't really figured it out yet, but if somebody has, please let me know and let us know in the comments. But have a look here. This sort of fluctuates quite rapidly. So to avoid being victim to fluctuation, we are going to build a water tank. And I'm going to build a large water tank because, you know, certain things you just should go big or go home, you know. It's not necessary to build that connection, but I'm going to build it because it's in case a meteor strikes here or strikes here, there's no loss of power. So you want to have more than one connection to your base in case, for instance, if this wasn't there and a meteor had to hit here, the base would lose power immediately, and I think that would set us back quite a bit. So yeah, that's never a good thing, but you know, you can't always control everything. So it looks like okay, that's good. I like to see that. We've got 2 starch. These guys are thirsty, and it looks like Ananya Raymond has stopped working, even though we need bioplastics. Okay, that's a bit unsettling. Well, admit, I think the next thing was a bit silly now. I think I should have probably held off on the. I think I might actually hold off on this and build a sick bay rather. I think a sick bay is probably more important, to be honest. You don't want injured. Yeah, you don't want injured workers, so it's a bit touch and go. Personally, I think we probably should have built a sick bay first, but we'll build a sick bay now. I don't think this needs to be fairly big. I am going to build a sick bay right by the nurse's office, if you want to call it that. I think let's prioritize this one so that... that's fine, I'm happy with that. We can prioritize the sick bay to ensure that when the workers are in the mine, that there is a nurse on call and a nurse available to treat any wounds that may arise from working in this environment. A lot of people are tired. Our biologist is sleeping, okay, that's good. I think both our biologists are sleeping. One of our workers are sleeping, which is good. I think they need their rest, need their beauty sleep. Then let's see. Okay. Okay, so we've got Ryan Williams, the worker, just transporting the metals to certain connections. The other thing, guys, when I usually actually play in 4 times speed, but I think for educational purposes, I am trying my best to be as informative as possible. If you feel like I've missed anything, also maybe just add something in the comments for someone. You guys are welcome to do that. So let's have a look at what else we can do with this base. Okay, this is actually quite cool to see. So it looks like Erica is working on the tissue synthesizer, and I think what's nice about the tissue synthesizer... No, I'm being dumb. I thought that this is automated and this just doesn't automatically, but they all automate. They all will grow. They just need to be maintained. Never mind. So let's scratch that. I just want to make sure that we don't just have basic meals here. So we've got pasta. Okay, we've got salad even, which is really good. I don't know how we've made a salad. That doesn't make sense. Oh no, we can make a salad because we've got rice, we've got wheat, and we've got tomatoes. These are considered vegetables. Vegetable oil. Duh, they're all plants. Well, that's... I actually didn't realize that. So we've actually got a nice variety here. We've got salads. We have more salad. We have more salad. And probably... Okay, so I think 3 tomatoes make a salad. Okay. If I'm not mistaken. I think 3 tomatoes make a salad. So, we've got 2 meats, which is probably sitting in here. Yeah, we've got 2 meats sitting in there. Okay, we've got a meal basic. That doesn't make sense. So 1 tomato made a basic meal. Okay, whatever. Looks like our constructor bot is KO. Knocked out. I don't know why these guys are not working on the bioplastics. Okay, I'm going to prioritize the work in the structure because I think it is important that we get some more bioplastics. Otherwise, it's not going to happen that I won't be able to set the manufacturing limits, and then we'll have resources wasted on too many medical supplies or, you know, that kind of thing. So, looks like someone's working here, which is nice. Deja Dunlap is operating the bioplastic processor. Look how beautiful that sunrise is. Really good game. I really enjoy it. Oh, it looks like I've actually forgot about our water tank. So it is being filled up, or it's filled up. And that's the grid. So water grid consumes 3.25 and produces 4.12. That doesn't make sense. I thought this was like 6. Oh yes, that's what I was saying. It fluctuates. So resources, you will need to manage a variety of resources to keep your base running. They range from raw resources like ore and starch to finalized products like semiconductors or guns. Resources decay and will ultimately disintegrate when not in storage or inside a component. So it's important to keep them in a safe place. Resources from the colony ship are more durable and will take longer to disintegrate, but it is still a good idea to store them eventually. Okay. So, I don't know if guns are weapons that are used mainly by guards to defend. Yes. So, guns will be used by the guards to protect the base once we have opened the base to outsiders. And it gets a little bit complicated when, you know, you're trying to manage your base, you're trying to manage the expansion, you're trying to manage everything, and then you've got intruders coming and killing off everyone, and like kind of messes up the dynamics of the base a little bit. So it's quite important to create a factory where you can create the guns, where you can create the semiconductors, and you can create the spares. We haven't needed to use spares a lot. And the guys, that's actually the other thing that I have just sort of realized. The reason why I say don't be shy to have a medium wind turbine and a medium solar panel is because they will use less spares in the long run. So you'll have more time to concentrate on other areas, such as your sick bay, such as your medium factory. So it's kind of why, like, I've taken the current setup the way it is. Okay, that's good. We got the small sick bay being constructed. I do think we can add something. No, we can't. We have to wait for this connector to be done, and then we also need this bioplastics to be done. One thing I will say, I don't know if you guys have watched, I did make another video about 2 days ago on a playthrough that I had done on the Red Planet as well, and I saw that with the smaller biodome, the starch was a bit of a limiting factor, and it was quite frustrating. So unless you guys have got a better sort of set of, or better combination of vegetables and plants, please let me know, because I'd really like to hear what I'm doing wrong, if you guys are aware of that. Okay, that's good. We got a bioplastic. What else can we do though? Okay, so signpost displays panel showing information about the colony. I don't think that does anything really. Pyramid requires signpost. I don't think that does anything. The radio antenna requires control center. So, if I understand correctly, the radio tower is used to contact alien ship, or not alien ship, but other ships to sort of create deals and sort of look for distress signals and all that. And a telescope you will need to operate your anti-meteor laser your anti-meteor lasers. And that'll all be done in the control center, which is quite weird. We haven't had a sandstorm yet. We'll get a sandstorm very, very soon. I can guarantee you that. But we won't be able to sound the alarm because we need to get a security controls module to sound that alarm. And the reason being is that if the people are outside and they are not protected, they will eventually get injured and medical supplies will be utilized. So we don't want that either. I'm hoping this constructor bot gets here soon. There it is. And then we shall probably build a storage unit here, just to be like a centralized storage unit. I think that's a good... Yeah, that's good. I think storage here would be great. Okay, so now we're not really worried anymore about the... Remember T-bone, what I said? You also, this is a T-bone. Or dead end is probably... So, sorry, a dead end. This structure can only have one interior connection. There we go. So, we will build a hospital bed, and we'll also build a medical cabinet, and another hospital bed. And let's make it nice and... Ooh, okay, no. We are quite short on bioplastic, so I don't really want to waste too much. I don't really think we need... We don't need a medical cabinet. I think that medical cabinet right now is a bit of a waste, because we'd rather build a factory first and actually have our engineers do something instead of just being there to sort of repair the bots only. Because that's the only thing that they are doing right now. The engineers are just repairing the bots. I do also think, though, that we need an airlock here. Yeah, I'm going to build an airlock there. Because, shame, this poor bot has to go all the way around and come here. Versus just being a little airlock here. I think that'll be good. I think let's prioritize this one. Okay, so it looks like... Oh. The other thing I haven't spoken about as well is the days. Wait, is this showing how many days we've been alive? Yeah, we've actually been on here for 3 days and 18 hours. Now it's night time. When this bar's full, it'll be daytime. And when the bar's full again, it'll be night time. Then this is obviously the wind strength. And that's obviously directly affects your power generation in your wind turbine. And again, we've expanded. So let's have a look at our power storage. So our power storage hasn't really come down just yet. And that's also because we've chosen the medium generators, which I'm still strongly like. It's still, for me personally, it shows a lot. I've played this game quite a bit, and on the red planets, the larger, or the medium and the large power collectors and the power generators are a lot more efficient and provide, they give you less sort of hassle going forward. It's a bit of an investment, but it does definitely pay off in the long run. And so I see we still prioritize this. I don't know why nobody's working there though. Personally, he shouldn't be in the mine. We've kind of got all. Interesting. It's going to take a while. I think, guys, let's fast forward a bit. Let's put on 4 times speed so that we can sort of rush through this. I will see you when the factory has been built and this airlock has been built. Okay, guys, we are back. And I know I said we would show you when everything else has been built. But now we can, once the factory has been built, the manufacturing limits can be set. So the manufacturing limits panel allows you to specify the maximum number of units for the various manufactured goods. After you hit the limit, no more of that item will be produced, which inevitably means that there would be capacity created because that resource no longer needs to be produced. So we can sort of make sure that the workers and the engineers are directed in the path that is required by whatever you guys would like to build on. So how we enable that is we go to the settings, we go to the manufacturing limits, and this is kind of I've actually, usually, that's not good. The power storage is low. That's not good. I think we're probably going to lose power very soon, which is awkward. But these things happen, and I'll show you how to deal with that now as well. So with medical supplies, I think I'm going to go with 25. Spares, we're going to stay at 10. Then semiconductors, we're going to go 2, because we don't really need a lot of semiconductors. Actually 1. Let's go 1. Guns 1. Carrier bots, we're going to go with 3. Constructor bots 1. Driller bots 3. So you want 3 driller bots per mine. I think that's probably the most efficient. Now, I don't know how the hell we're going to come back from this, but as you can see, we've only started to have issues now because of the factory and the sick bay that's now being built. But in the factory, what we'll do is we will start building a spares workshop so that we can ensure that the spares get built. We will build a semiconductor and we will build guns so that the engineer can actually do something. Guns can also be sold. They're quite lucrative as well. I think they sell for 80 currency, whatever the currency is here, which is quite a lot, especially if you're looking for blueprints. Now we need to sort out the power issues. So we are producing a lot of power here, but it's really not sustainable. I'm actually very worried. We are going to slow this down. It was on 4 times speed. So how are we going to do this? Because this is not good. Look at that. We are not producing enough. So what I want to suggest is we take and build. We're going to build another solar panel. Oh, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Security controls. Here we go. So this is what I was talking about in terms of. So a sandstorm is imminent. So this, and the reason why we need a security controls module is because it allows you to control the alert status of the colony. There are 3 main settings. No alert, all colonists go about their duties normally. Yellow alert, all colonists stay indoors, and medics and guards are on extended duty. You might choose to use this setting during a disaster to prevent colonists from getting hurt. And you might also activate this setting during an attack to ensure that all available guards attack the intruders. Red alert, same as yellow alert, but all colonists will try to attack any intruders with weapons if they have them, or without if they don't. You might activate this setting when you have no guards to defend the base, or when they have been overwhelmed by the intruders. Okay, cool. So I didn't actually know that. I always went to red alert when there was intruders, but it makes sense that you would want the guards to do their jobs, being to protect the base, and then sort of make sure that the colonists do not get hurt. So you'll see now that the sandstorm is imminent, and this man, Orion, is slowly getting hurt there. So if he stays up for too long, he will actually die, and we don't want that. But this does, however, give us a chance to. I'm going to switch this off because we don't have the red alert, so we can sort of limit the. We can limit the people to how much time they spend outside. So we can limit if the mine's not on, then they won't go outside. But I do think they've patched that, and I do think they've fixed that. That they've actually given them sort of common sense. As you can see, the base is not running well at all, and that is all just because of power. So we'll fix that now. I'm glad this is happening because it's a learning curve, and I think not every base can be perfect. So let's see, what do we need to get done here? Okay, so we actually need to get these workers down. Unfortunately, what's going to happen now is we're gonna run out of power. That's not good. The nice thing though is that if we had another wind turbine, we could probably have benefited from that. So actually, I'm going to look and see. I'm going to build extra wind turbines and an extra solar panel. I think let's prioritize, because it's going to be night when this is done. I think let's prioritize the wind turbines because, yeah, well, it seems as we can maintain it quite well. The other thing we could also do actually is switch the bases off. You'll see it'll come down to 30. We can switch this one off. Now it's 30. That's not good. Wait, what? Well, that's not good. Okay, well, We're going to see if we can fast forward through this. Most important thing right now is for this bioplastics person and the workers to sort of get us through the night. Probably not going to happen, but whatever. These things tend to happen. I do know that... Okay, that's not good. Ooh, what did I do? Whoops. I've accidentally turned off the power collector. Okay, guys, don't do that. Don't accidentally turn off the power collector. Because you see, this will happen. Luckily, I don't think we are too bad off. I don't think we're too bad off. Or too badly off. I do think we can come back from this quite easily. So that's a good sign. We want this to generate as quick as possible. And we also want these guys. Okay, so it looks like this airlock is going to be done. Probably a little bit unnecessary, but it's fine. Let's have a see as to how we can make this better. Okay, it looks like the airlock's built, so that's good. I'm happy about that. That's really good. I'm going to turn this on once the power collector has been fully built. Or once the power collector has fully been charged to 7,500. I don't know if we're going to get there though. We might, but I don't think we will, because one solar panel cannot handle 32 or 31, sorry. So now we're actually in the deficit, but we only need one more metal, and this guy is making it. There we go. There's the metal. So somebody should take that. The Carabot should take that all the way to the wind turbine. And it's perfect because it's going to be night now. So I'm really glad that I didn't choose the solar panel. Really glad that I didn't. You'll probably find that I think the red planet is coded in a certain way. When it becomes night, it becomes a lot more windy. See? And now we're actually fine. So I will build a solar panel. And the next I'll build an even bigger power collector to ensure that we don't get to that situation again. I am going to make the base fully functional again in terms of the sick bay, etc. So I don't know if you saw there, but the collector bot is now going to maintain a lot of things. So we have 9. He's just maintained this one. He's now going to maintain the wind turbine. And that's what's also now about bots. An engineer doesn't have to go and do the job of the bots. You know? I must actually slow that down. Okay. So we're still prioritizing this. We said we're going to build a storage unit soon, but I do think we need to prioritize this, and then we're going to build a massive power collector. So we're going to go like that. Whatever. I'm going to go like that. And I think what we can do is, I'm going to fast forward. We haven't really got much to do now, so except wait for the biologist to come to the party with regards to the... I wonder if you can come back from that now. Is this biologist down here? No, it's a medic. Okay. I think that's the only irritating part about the medicinal pad, is that when your food producing plants are not doing well, they still sort of attend to the medicinal pad. So it would be nice if you were able to limit the amount of medicinal plants that you would use, so that they would, only once they needed medicinal plants, they would maintain it. But then again, it's not, that's kind of defeating the purpose, I guess. So it's another way to look at it, but I mean, you can't have it the way you want it. I mean, that also doesn't make sense as well. So it's not really an opinion yet of mine. It's more just a thought process. Okay. Where? These medical supplies are going to start dying. Or start getting irradiated. So let's build a cabinet there for medical supplies. And we're also going to build a storage unit. I do think I'm going to build a very, very large storage unit, just so that, again, bigger is better in certain aspects. And we're going to make the base flow. Oh, that's going to look nice. Look how nice that looks. I think that's going to look really good. We're on 4 times speed. They're not attending to the meat. But it does look like this is, overall, it's getting better. So let's have a look-see. Let's have a look-see her. Let's see what else we can do. Do we have enough capacity though? I think we do have enough capacity. That's one thing I also sort of, I don't know if you guys have realized, but for me as well, the power collectors, the wind turbines are actually the maintenance power. I'm not really sure whether or not you need so many power collectors. Unless the drain's too bad, then I guess you do. And if that's happening, the power storage is low, then it's not good. So it should rectify itself. Yeah, it will. Look at that. Okay, that's good. Okay. So guys, I think I'm going to end off the video over there for now. It's just a bit of a sort of, these are the tips and tricks that I've had that I'd like to offer as a, to you guys. So let me know if you thought I missed anything. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, guys, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I really would appreciate it. And thank you to those members who have joined as well. That is also greatly appreciated. That helps me support the financial situations with this channel, and it allows me to invest the money back into the channel, getting sort of a better mic or better camera, things to sort of put back in. Also, probably one of the most important things that I'm looking at right now is looking for sort of a graphics designer for intros and things like that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Let me know if you'd like to continue with this base. We can do that. I think going forward, I would really enjoy that. So again, if you have any other game suggestions, also leave that in the comments below. And yeah, have a good one, guys.